The man was so miserable. It was supposed to be a good day to get out of jail, but he couldn't wait to see his wife, so he got on a plane carrying criminals, hoping to go home early to celebrate his daughter's birthday. But an accident happened. When the plane was about to take off, a group of criminals started a fishing plan. And the man's accident happened more than once. Let's go back to the beginning of the story. 8 years ago, the man was a retired soldier who was supposed to live a happy life. But one night, under the heavy rain, a few gangsters came to provoke and insult the man's wife. The man didn't want to make trouble, but he could react. He used to be a member of the assault team, and he was confused. One day, he hit the head of the gangsters, and the gangsters' leader died. That's how the accident happened. But the accident wasn't over. The lawyer suggested that the man should plead guilty. As long as he pleaded guilty, he could be sentenced to death. 10 years in prison may be reduced to 4 years in prison. Maybe only 1 year in prison. At first, the man refused. But for his wife and his soon-to-be-born daughter, he admitted that he had committed a murder. But in the end, because he had been trained in the military, the standard of sentence was different from that of ordinary people. Because his ability to counterattack can kill people, the time of imprisonment must not be less than 7 to 10 years. In this way, the man was put in jail. Day after day, year after year, his wife and daughter became his motivation to live. He watched his daughter grow up. The photos on the wall were full of his daughter. Even if he lived in prison, he felt that he was the happiest man in the world. Later, his daughter went to school and traveled with her. He became part of the man's life. 8 years later, the man got a false identity. The day he left, the prison took a plane. The plane was responsible for transporting some heavy criminals to the prison in Alabama. The authorities paid great attention to this matter. Because the plane was hit by a bad cloud, William, nicknamed Bad Rat, became a mad killer. Xiong-Si, nicknamed Diamond Dog, was the former leader of the Black Guerrillas. He once destroyed the U.S. Guns and Blood Association. He wrote a book in prison called Dog Eyes Look Down at People. His story was going to be made into a movie. Cyborgson, nicknamed the Deadly Virus, did nothing but kidnap, rob, and murder. He was in prison for 25 years at the age of 39. He was very successful in prison. He got 2 degrees, including a law degree. He killed 11 prisoners. He caused 3 riots and was jailed twice. In such a plane, our hero Cameron had to take a plane to go home quickly. Even before the plane took off, the detectives were worried. So many bad guys on a plane. They hoped nothing would happen. But during the flight, the prisoners began to act. The old lady with thick hands pulled out a big needle. The big guys unbuttoned their gloves. This little black man was a little disgusting. A thread came out of his throat. Then he pulled out about half of it. It was a plastic bottle. The little black man was holding it in his hand. The big brother in prison nodded. Then, "Hey, Chief. If you can come through this all right, I hope you don't hold a grudge." The unknown liquid sprayed at the captain. Then he lit a match. The plane caught fire. The police quickly acted. The fat man took out the fire. The female police picked up the little black man. The police went to make a phone call. At this time, the little black man gave the key to the female police. He quickly went to open the prisoner's cage. The male police rushed out. He killed the female police without mercy. After the fat man came back, he put on his uniform. But at this time, Sailor had also rushed out. He immediately went to the cockpit. The man in the uniform rushed out. A few shots hit the prisoner. But he was no match for Sailor. He was killed here. Then, Sailor controlled the plane. He raised his gun and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Welcome to Con Air." Seeing this scene, Sailor was very sad. He cried bitterly. The prisoners were all released. The one who put on the handcuffs was the female police. This handsome man couldn't help it. It's easy to guess from his expression. Sailor was looking forward to it. At this time, Sailor got up and stopped him. "Do you know what I am? Ugly all day. This ain't happening. Not here." Sailor wanted to continue. But Sailor left. "Relax, he's right. Not here, not now. Do you fly, Johnny? No. You keep that in mind when you look at her. Because if your dick jumps out of your pants, you jump out of this plane. No matter how cruel. The role is, they all depend on Sailor." In the prison, the next stop was Cass's room. 6 prisoners were about to get off the plane. Then 10 people came up. They planned to get off. the plane normally. Because if they really wanted freedom, they had to consider the consequences. And someone paid for all this. That was a big drug dealer. As long as his son was saved, these people would go abroad to enjoy life. When the handcuffs were released, the undercover drug officer took action. He took Xiaofei and ordered Sailor to put down his gun. Kamelin persuaded him. It was too impulsive. If he put down his gun, he would become a hostage. These people wouldn't kill innocent people for the time being. But the undercover police were still too tender. He didn't wait for the right time. Unfortunately, he lost his young life here. What's your name? Kamelin. Yeah. Oh. Nice work. Truly nice work. Only his classmates and friends knew he was trying to save the undercover. But he became a good friend of the deadly virus. Xiahe found it difficult. In Cass's room, among the prisoners who were supposed to get off the plane, they were killed by the gun. So he had to find someone to replace them. This was a great opportunity. But Kamelin didn't want to give up the chance to save them. Of course, as a prisoner, no one wanted to be a volunteer. His classmates kept persuading him. They became volunteers. Hey, whoa, stop. The guys there are expecting our wife. But you shit out a lot. Hey, come on, man. I'll tell you what, sit down. One of my associates will bring you a phone case. The brother was worried. He was sure to die. After getting off the plane, Kamelin promised him he would scream loudly after getting off the plane. He promised not to let the plane take off. Fortunately, there was a pilot. He was replaced by the plane. Crazy. In order to prevent screaming, Silos shut them up. Kamelin's plan was ruined. You want me to move your head up? I want to stay on. What? I changed my mind. So sad as you got a little mind changer. I got 15 years left, and I know I'd just hate myself if I thought I blew my one shot and I'd make it a party for ain't good. Because of his previous performance, Silo chose to trust him and found a white cop to replace him. His friend didn't understand. There was a woman tied up. He just didn't want to leave them. Kamelin found the tape on the dead undercover. That's what happened on the plane. At the same time, in the cell where Silo was locked up, the police found something. Behind the wall, they found some files such as the plane's plane map. The plane landed in Catsun City. It was a yellow sand outside. All the guards showed their eyes. Kamelin took the opportunity to put the tape on the police. Silo put on the police uniform and sent the 6 prisoners off the plane. They were all blindfolded. Among the prisoners on the street, there were the pilot in the plan. And the confused prisoner was confused. There were no guards on the plane. It was like coming to another cell. All the new excitement was ruined. He took down the plane's locator. Xiahe was in charge of handling it. Xiahe got off the plane. He was very smart. He put the locator on a sightseeing plane. The last prisoner was temporarily arranged. When he knew the name of the prisoner, Silo was shocked that this person was escorted alone. He was not a strong figure, but he was locked up all over. All the prisoners were shocked. I'm married to the magma. That skinny little man butchers 37 people up and down the eastern seaboard. They say the way he kills those people makes the Manson family look like the butcher's family. Well, he's on the right side. At the same time in the prison, the detective found a secret in the information. The detective suddenly found a last dinner card. Everyone's eyeballs were cut into square holes. The detective took it up and checked it. The hole in the eyes was just the size of the text. After such a comparison, he got the name of a city. Catsun City? The detective suddenly realized that there must be something wrong with the plane to Catsun City. So he went to notify the remaining police officers to continue to check. How are you doing? Leave it alone. I told you not to touch anything. 6 prisoners kept struggling. Catsun City police didn't get used to them. And this gunshot smashed the tape on Pang's body. The police finally realized the problem. In order not to arouse suspicion, they moved the police car first and then notified the police. Unfortunately, it was a little late. Before a large number of police cars arrived, the plane was about to take off. Xiahe, who was in charge of positioning, just chatted with the woman for a while, but missed the plane heading for freedom. He chased the plane to the window. What he encountered was the captain who was burned by him. The captain smiled. Xiahe. The plane was heading for freedom. The prisoners began to rejoice. The captain was furious. He sent the undercover to die. The plan was to approach the son of the drug dealer and then get the news out. Unfortunately, he was killed. He had a big quarrel with the detective because he didn't let his men get on the plane with a gun. But all this is just a plan. Death cannot be revived. Go Lin is the star of The Prisoner. No one doesn't admire him. Sai Luo suggested that he be released. Cheongsi opened the prison door and carefully touched Go Lin. He is a prisoner who scares even the bad guys. Kamal came to the cockpit. As a loyal prisoner, he wanted to know the next plan. This is the probe that contacted the plane. What can be determined is that Sai Luo controlled the whole plane, but they didn't get any clues. Sai Luo told Kamal that they were going to Lina Airport. There were no police around 10 miles away. His wife and daughter were still waiting, but they encountered a federal police and needed a woman to go to the airport together. Because Kamal stuffed the recorder into the prison guard, the probe confirmed that he was saving people. He used to be a U.S. assault team member and was injured. Because of the protection of his wife, he was killed in prison and was prepared to go home by a fake. And he had a chance to get off the plane, but he chose to stay on the plane. The probe thought that Kamal was their ally. The fighter copter was coming. The drug dealer was ready to catch up with the plane and then kill him directly. This man is in an irrational state of mind. He's had enough. The probe called Kamal to take him to check the plane. Kamal was a little worried, but the probe kept watching him all the way. When they arrived at the cabin, they saw a familiar face. It turned out that Xiahe was on the plane and just hung here. The probe asked Kamal to leave. Xiahe. He finally found a chance. And wrote on his clothes that the federal police officer Lai Ken had landed at Lina Airport. Kill him, gotcha. Xiahe landed freely. In the city, Lai Ken was on a date, but his car was stuck to the bird poop. Every time I get away, I get 10 feet from the car wash and then, pow, bird shit. Well, it's supposed to be good luck. At this time, Xiahe landed. The probe was just getting to know Kamal. At this time, he received a phone call from the Federal Police Office of Fresno. The name of the probe was written on the corpse that fell from the sky. Now it's very certain that Kamal is an ally. He quickly notified the federal police officer. But how did they believe it? They thought they were about to catch up with the plane. They completely underestimated the IQ of Silo. Due to the urgency of the time, the probe called the police while staring at the police officer's sports car. Want to get to Lina Airport quickly? Driving is a good choice. William found a problem. He saw Kamal's fake ID. The two met in the cargo hold. William is a cruel character. How can he blame Xiao Xiao for the murder? But he underestimated Kamal. After a cliff, the fighter copter caught up with the plane. He was supposed to take action directly, but he found a problem. There were not 30 prisoners in the plane, but an old tourist plane. Back to the seat. A sports car is a sports car. Kamal arrived at the airport first. There was no one here. There were not even people around. He hid the car in the house and found a high observation deck. Unfortunately, the staff at the observation deck had died. It seems that there is a problem at the airport. Soon, the plane slowly landed at the airport. It almost collided with another small plane. The pilot was nimble. He jumped off the plane and picked up a life. The plane escaped the runway and kept blocking it. Finally, the plane landed. In this way, a bunch of prison stars landed. Here, it's just that they haven't come yet. The pilot of the small plane was also angry. He wanted to teach the big plane a lesson, but he found something wrong, so he immediately ran in the opposite direction. I hope he likes sand. Humph. Cheongsi wanted to execute the hostages, but he was stopped by Kamal. He thought he couldn't kill the hostages. Cheongsi didn't blame him, but the boss issued an order. He thought Kamal was right. Everyone was busy working, but Grim took another path. No one dared to care about him. He came to the nursing home and saw a girl playing with toys. Kamal went to find a tool and ran to a warehouse. But at this moment, Grim was observing at the observation deck. Suddenly, sand was flying. Far away. A number of cars came to the airport. According to the distance, it took about 10 minutes to get here. The killer took a doll and sat opposite the girl. The girl smiled and shared her toy. On the other hand, Kamal was controlled by 3 people. He finally understood the intention. Duxiao was not going to take everyone away, but was going to abandon the prisoner here and only take his good bag. The man put on the silencer, and thought his life was over. At this moment, Grim appeared. Every move was fatal. He did everything perfectly and finally met Grim. But in order to save his friend, Kamal was about to return to the plane. I read your file. Not such a bad guy. Just always in the wrong place at the wrong time. Goodbye. Lock it. I spoke to your wife. In person? In person. And your little girl? You saw Casey. If this thing goes bad, Locke, then I'm afraid my daughter won't understand. If you talk to my wife again, you tell her I love her. So I'm gonna hurt her. Don't leave a fallen man behind. You'll do that for me, won't you, Locke? Sure, I will. What are you gonna do for me? What do you think I'm going to do? I'm gonna save the fucking day. The handsome background left. Grimm took a deep breath. The prisoners speed up. Because the police are coming. Everyone is in a hurry. But I'm more worried about the little girl. Little Grimm took the opportunity to slip away. He got on a private jet. He was so pissed off. But when he was about to leave, Grimm put down the receipt. He wanted to leave before he paid. Be careful, Grimm. I don't know. I was supposed to be free. But I ended up in the lake. I saw the little Grimm who lied to everyone. I took a cigarette. If you dare to deceive a deadly disease, this is what you get. Back to the plane warehouse. I saw Grimm's body. Then I found a weapon. There's going to be a big battle. Arrange the tactical tactics. These bastards take action. When they heard the explosion, Grimm and the girl were gone. The cup shattered on the table, and he panicked. The prisoners took the lead. They packed up and prepared the equipment. They gave the police a fatal blow. But Grimm didn't participate in the battle. Some things are more important. He couldn't stand it. At all. He set fire to the air raid shelter outside. And this guy, Carmelin, got on the plane. Stop the prisoners from running away. It's time for Grimm to succeed. The prisoners defended successfully. They were ready to evacuate immediately. The fighter copter came. Everything seemed to be over. The plane left in the fire. A rope was hanging on the rock. The prisoners kept throwing it. It broke 10 tons. But the metal hook fell into the garage. After a while, it happened to hook the car. That's it. Today's scene happened. Grimm couldn't stop the plane. But the captain saw his own limited edition car. He took off with the plane. The plane passed the observation deck. He pulled up the cockpit. The car hit the observation deck. Then the car fell. It fell to the ground. But he saw the license plate clearly. He was Grimm's favorite car. The plane flew away. This is the girl we were worried about. He met the plane started to roll. The secret of Carmelin was discovered. The boss was angry after seeing it. Not only did he deceive him, but also a traitor appeared in the air prison. Sarah Lynn's daughter, Eugen, stood up in Carmelin. Her classmates stood up and said that she did everything. Then she was shot down by Sarah. Sarah read the letter. She knew the traitor was Carmelin. At this time, the fighter arrived. The air raid siren shot. No matter how the scout shouted, the plane was full of holes. But this man was very calm. Only he seemed to have nothing to do with it. Carmelin began to fight. From the tail of the plane to the head of the plane. In order to prevent the launch of missiles, the scout used the plane to block the captain. While Sarah was not paying attention, Carmelin took over the head of the plane and controlled the whole plane. He successfully talked to the fighter. I said hold fire. Through communication, the plane landed at Las Vegas airport. But the engine broke down. The prisoners were all done. It is most important to save lives now. The plane failed to do what it wanted. The big guitar that crashed into the casino crossed the streets of the city. It didn't go to the airport, but landed randomly. After crossing a few streets, the wings of the plane were broken. When it crashed into the water outside the casino door, Sarah found an opportunity. She had to kill Carmelin before she died. But there was a bad omen. No one expected that the plane was cut in half. After breaking most of the items in the casino, the plane stopped. The police car arrived one after another. The prisoners were surrounded. The hostage was finally rescued. Carmelin's classmate survived. Maybe after the achievement, he would get a chance to pretend. But there were many prisoners missing. He was supposed to see his wife, but he saw Sarah's figure. Carmelin and the scouts started to chase. Next was an exciting, and the motorcycle accelerated to kill Kunzi. While fighting with Sarah, the scout found a chance to get in the car. Carmelin stabbed Sarah's leg. After a few moves, he put Sarah on the fire truck. The scout also stopped. The driver was drunk. The driver couldn't see the road. The worst was Sarah. She broke the public facilities along the way. After the handcuffs fell off, she was hung on the wire again. When the fire truck was about to crash, Carmelin jumped off the car. And for Sarah, those were not fatal. She was sent here by a conveyor belt. There was only a big iron block on it. The money in the casino was flying. In the pool in front of the door, he found the rabbit for his daughter. All of this was over. He shook hands with the scout. The police found a toy from Green. But they didn't know why there was this on the plane. Carmelin looked at the opposite side of the road. He saw a familiar face. He slowly walked towards Sarah, the wife he had been dreaming of. And the daughter he had never seen before. Carmelin was also the father his daughter missed every day. The family hugged each other. Happily. In the heart of the couple, Carmelin was never a prisoner, but a hero in their hearts.